Oh, so fabulous.
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel once again. It's your girl Dumebi. If this is your first time coming across my channel, you're welcome. I do hope you decide to subscribe, and if you are a returning subscriber, you guys know that I love you. It's so good to have you here. Welcome back once again. So before we get into today's video, my usual disclaimer: this video is strictly for educational purposes. Do not go searching out anybody that I talk about in this video. Don't send them any form of hate comments, threats, or violence. This channel does not support any of that. So I came across this video by this very intelligent, well-spoken Nigerian man. I believe he's a Nigerian man living in America. I keep coming across his videos and I see people also stitching and reacting to him. He has this wealth of knowledge and he's also Pan-African. He speaks on issues affecting Africa and affecting our African diaspora as well. So when this particular video was circulating, it was around when the Sonia Massey incident was circulating as well.
Y'all need to stop and listen to this and blow this story up. This is 36-year-old Sonia Massey from Springfield, Illinois. She called 911 in the early hours of July 6th to report a possible intruder or somebody lurking around her home. 2 Sangamon County Sheriff deputies were dispatched to her home at around 12:30 or 12:50. I've seen conflicting reports about that time. When they arrived, they searched the area for an intruder, and then they reported at 1:21 in the morning that shots had been fired. Sonia got 1 bullet to her head and was transported to a local hospital where she was pronounced deceased at 1:47 in the morning. Apparently, the Sangamon County at first tried to say it was self-inflicted, but the coroner said otherwise, that no, she was shot. And the community is absolutely outraged about this. She called 911 for assistance and she ended up with a bullet in her head.
Unfortunately, I could not speak on Sonia Massey because I hadn't resumed filming, but best believe that I followed through. I followed the whole incident and it's a very sad one. But the video that this man made basically brought a new perspective to things. Let's just go ahead and check out his video.
Okay, so I'm going to make a connection that I haven't seen anyone else make, and we as black people have been ignoring. And I know you're all seeing this and wondering, what the hell do all these have to do with each other? Bear with me. So we're going to start with the Mormon church, right? So the Mormon church believes, like this is their actual belief, that in the heavenly times, there was a war between God and the devil. And God on his side, he had angels and a bunch of humans with him. And the devil on his side, he had demons and a bunch of humans with him. And the war happened and God and the angels came out victorious. And God cast the devil to hell. He sent him to hell. He sent the demons that were with him to hell. He kept the angels in heaven and sent all humans to earth. Now, the humans that sided with the devil, God chose to curse them and their descendants with black skin to mark them for who they are, for what they did, for siding with the devil during the heavenly wars. That is the Church of Mormon. Black skin was the curse. That is us. Black people, Africans, African people, African Americans, Caribbeans, Jamaicans, Grenadans, you know, even the me no black, me Dominican, even y'all too. So
I'm sorry, that was funny. It's not a funny situation, but me no black, I'm not black, I'm Dominican. Or I'm not black, I'm Somali. No hate, no shade.
That was the curse that God gave those people for siding with the devil. That is the actual belief of the Mormon church, Nara Smith's church. Then in 1997, a faction of them broke off because they started to believe that black people can indeed be redeemed. That's how Nara Smith's parent, that's how she came up to be. Basically, I don't know which one of her parents is black, but I'm guessing, you know, the church decided that there are black people that can be redeemed. So now there's a faction that believes that, there's a faction that does not. Now, where am I going with this? The Mormon church, one thing a lot of us do not know is, look this up. This is not conspiracy. The FBI, the CIA, Homeland Security, our internal armed forces, police forces, all our internal armed forces, not our military. Something between 65 to 85% of them are Jesuit Mormons. Like, Jesuits and Mormons. Fordham University graduates, they all end up in government, all these. So yeah, the FBI, I think about 65 to 75% of the FBI are Mormons. They actively recruit these people. Our law enforcement agencies go to look for these people and actively recruit them, right? So we have this. So now we have an internal armed police force in the United States that is made up of...
I'm sorry, but at this point, it's sounding like getting a group of people who do not like black people and arming them. That is what it looks like. Let's just continue.
Of a group of people that genuinely believe from the bottom of their soul, like this is their spiritual belief, that stopping black liberation is an act of God. These are people that believe that black unity, black people coming together and rising, is going against their Lord and Savior. This is something as black people in America we always keep trying. How do I explain this? You don't try to peel a banana or peel an orange with a chainsaw. Like, we actively have been trying to fight a system using the wrong tools. You can't protest your way out of this. You can't policy your way out of this when you have an entire law enforcement agency of multiple agencies that consist of people who believe that we are descendants of people who worked with the devil. That's all I'm saying here is, we as black people in America, we protest, we do this, we want to change laws. We keep forgetting, or we do not acknowledge that at the core of it, the people who have the pews, who face us, who deal with us on a daily basis, who have the laws on their side, who have the funds to infiltrate, to do whatever it is they need to do, is made up, more than 70% of them are people who believe stopping black liberation is an act of God. Now, if you have people with this belief, let me ask you a question. Do you think these people will value the life of a black person the same way they will value the life of anyone else? No. The life of a black person is that of a descendant of someone who helped the devil. Unless we as black people start acknowledging this and start doing something, like, we're trying to go against a system. There's a wrench. It's like a bolt, right? That's been put in place. That's the system. We're trying to undo it using a screwdriver when we should be using a wrench. Does anybody get the analogy I'm trying to make here? Is we are not even acknowledging the root of the problem here. Is our law enforcement agencies, vast majority of these people genuinely believe that keeping us where we are at the bottom of society is a spiritual act, and they will get rewarded in heaven for this shit. So, does anybody understand what I'm trying to say here? The situation in America goes deeper. Everybody keeps saying, yes, it's a spiritual thing, but no one acknowledges just how spiritual this is. It's a spiritual fight, yes, and a physical one, but we're dealing with a society who has its local armed militia, if you want to call them that, who believe that we are descendants of people who collaborated with the devil. You cannot protest your way out of that.
I don't even know what to say. You know, when I see videos like this, I understand why a lot of people do not like organized religion, because you can get a bunch of people together, get them to believe a certain thing, and then they go into the world and spread this belief, and they go into the world and act on these beliefs. That is what this is. And this obviously was somebody somewhere who had this belief and then founded a church based on this belief. And now these people with this belief are being placed in positions where they can actually hurt or harm the people that they believe are evil just by virtue of being born with a dark skin. And I do not like conspiracy theories. I try to stay away from these things because some of these things are lies. Even if some of them are true, they get you thinking and overthinking. But in the comment section, there were a lot of people, even ex-Mormons, who were confirming what he was saying. And I don't know, is it a conspiracy theory? Is it true? Because it's looking like it is true. It's looking like there's some facts to this, and I never knew about this. Okay, so now some people were commenting, and then he responded to one of the comments and made a follow-up video based upon what the person said in that comment. Let me play his next video.
Thanks for this. I'm making a video on your comment because you're a former Mormon and you're confirming this. But the thing that I find interesting is the number of Americans. When I say everybody, like every non-black person basically knows of this. And the number of black people who don't know this is just mind-boggling. Like black people have no idea about this. But when you sit down and you understand this, then everything starts to make sense. Then policing in America makes sense. Then FBI going after the Black Panthers or going after MLK or going after Malcolm X makes sense. The CIA constantly going destabilizing African countries makes sense, because all of these things.
You know, this is the thing. Someone might listen to what he's saying and feel like, oh, it's just in America. Like, it doesn't affect we're all the way in Africa, we're all the way in the Caribbean. But that's the thing. It's a worldwide thing. You might feel like it's an American thing. It's only African Americans that have to bother about it. But no. No, these people have a further reach than just America. They have a further reach, and whether we like it or not, we are directly or indirectly affected by these people with these beliefs that are placed in a situation where they can actually act on it. I mean, you heard the agencies that he mentioned. So if their reach is that far, that deep, how safe are we, no matter what part of the world we are? There's a reason why if someone in Africa wants to make a revolution, turn things around for Africans, you know, the Gaddafis and all the other people who had good intentions to try to unite Africa and liberate Africa. There's a reason why these people just are not able to do this. There's a reason why some of them lost their lives, and these dreams, these big dreams that they had to liberate our people never came to fruition. Obviously, there are some powers that be that don't want this to happen. So it's not an American thing. It reaches far beyond the shores of America. That's why when we black people are fighting amongst ourselves, it does not make sense. Or when we feel like, oh, it's only African Americans that have to bother about police brutality, or it's only African Americans that have to bother about Black Lives Matter. No, we have to actually speak up for each other, because what affects them, the root cause of things that are affecting our brothers in the diaspora, are affecting us in Africa. Some of us just don't know it. And this is why they keep us ignorant. We don't learn our history in Africa. We don't learn history in schools. A lot of us don't know. Some of us, this younger generation, don't know anything about slavery, don't really know the core of colonialism. They do not know the history between our people, palm colored people, how our countries were created, how our resources are being taken. They don't know these things. And we think ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is not bliss. It's not. So you can feign ignorance or like it doesn't concern you. But in the grand scheme of things, you're being affected. And this is why we have to actually educate ourselves, and we have to come together. It is only when we come together that we can actually do something. So let's just finish up this video.
Things, all of these acts, these people are doing these things. For them, it's a religious act. They genuinely believe, like you have people in the CIA trying to subvert growth in an African country, trying to create problems. They genuinely believe they will get rewarded in heaven for this, because this is a religious act. Because black people rising, they see whatever is going on, the turmoil, whatever life black people have in the world right now, they see it as it's a punishment handed from God for siding with the devil. So black people trying to unite, trying to get out of this situation, they see it as us going against God. We're going against the punishment that God gave us, and it is their spiritual right to stop that from happening. And the amount of black people who don't know this has been actually mind-boggling. But yeah, holy shit.
A lot of us don't know this. I was shocked to hear. I didn't know. I never knew there was any church or any religious sect that believed that killing black people or harming black people or trying to stop black liberation was a mandate from God and they were going to get rewarded. I never really knew. And you know the thing about the Mormon church, the church of the, I think that's the Latter-day Saints, I think that's what they're called. It's just one of those churches that I know about, but I don't really know about. You know, there's this full of secrecy about it. I've come across many videos on my TikTok feed of ex-Mormons coming out to talk about the doctrines of the church and things they disagreed with. And, you know, there's just a veil of secrecy. A lot of people don't really know what goes on there except you're part of them. And then now this comes out. And then the shocking thing is there are Mormon churches. There are Mormons who are black people. There are Mormons in African countries. We have in Nigeria, there's a whole congregation. So at the end of the day, I'm like, okay, do they know about this, or have they changed their doctrine, or is what this brother is saying even true? I want you guys to let me know in the comment section, because this is a lot to take in. But when I went researching to confirm what he was saying, I found some videos, and I'm just going to go ahead and play them back to back.
Those who remained neutral in the battle were cursed to be born with black skin. This is the Mormon explanation for the Negro race.
The first time I saw this cartoon, I was still a totally active member of the Mormon Church. And when it came to this point, and it explained this portion about how black people were less valiant in the pre-earth life, so they're cursed with black skin, I thought, that's totally not true. We don't believe that. That's just anti-Mormon propaganda. Unfortunately, it does turn out that it is completely true, and that there's a long history of this doctrine, but it was not taught to me because the Mormon Church has attempted to totally brush it under the rug. In the book Mormon Doctrine from 1966 by Bruce R. McConkie, he expressly explains this doctrine. Those who were less valiant in pre-existence and who thereby had certain spiritual restrictions imposed on them during mortality are known to us as black people, though he says Negroes. To date, the Mormon Church has never apologized for the damage done by this racist doctrine. They just try to pretend like it never happened. This is what early Mormon doctrine taught about black people. The prophet Joseph Smith and Brigham Young taught that black people were under something called the curse of Cain. Joseph Smith taught that this mark was black skin, and that this is where all black people come from. He also taught that this was the reason God permitted slavery. The Book of Mormon, the book of scripture translated by Joseph Smith, also includes...
So you guys see that they use it to also justify slavery. That's probably why they also justify taking African resources in manpower and, you know, people and actual mineral resources, and leaving us in poverty because we are devil's people.
Verses about how the most righteous people in the book are white and delightsome. The people in the book who sin are cursed by God with a skin of blackness. Some early black members of the Mormon Church were promised that in the afterlife their skin would turn white. Brigham Young taught that interracial marriage should be punished by death. It's not just early church history, though, because many Mormon leaders were opposed to the civil rights movement. Throughout the history of the Mormon Church, black people were not permitted to go into the temple to receive the temple ordinances, and they were also not permitted to have the priesthood. I
don't understand how you are a part of a church that discriminates against you, and then you believe it. Well, I mean, the height of brainwashing, religious brainwashing.
Racial restrictions were lifted in 1978 after a lawsuit by the NAACP, though it wasn't until 2013 that the church disavowed its teachings on race for the first time. Today, there are an estimated 400,000 to 1 million black members of the church. Some people dismiss the church's stances as just being a product of the time. And while I might say that argument kind of holds up for a business or an organization or the government, don't you think that God's literal true church on the earth today should be held to a higher standard? Why is God exactly as bigoted and racist as whatever the modern culture is?
That's a good question. So now, this last video.
Did you know that Mormons are some of the most sought-after recruits for the FBI and CIA? In fact, these organizations have such a disproportionate number of Mormons that it's often referred to as the Mormon Mafia. And Mormons make up roughly 2% of the population, but they have a high degree of acceptance in organizations like the Homeland Security, FBI, or CIA. In fact, they're considered extremely desirable by these organizations, and there's 3 reasons why. This is because Mormons often have strong foreign language skills from their missions abroad. They also don't do any drugs or alcohol, and they also have a mission to serve. And in a 1985 study by a BYU professor, almost everyone who applied was accepted by the CIA. And what's still known today is that the FBI and CIA still recruits actively in colleges like BYU for Mormon students with strong foreign language skills and a desire to serve. And many of the Mormons who do get recruited works as analysts or the desk jockeys of the intelligence worlds who never leave the building their entire career. And for those who do leave, they eventually join the Latter-day Saints Security Department, or basically the security for the church. And it's hard to put an exact number on how many Mormons actually join the CIA or FBI. However, these organizations are not known for their diversity, and Mormons are basically the perfect fit for these organizations.
So you guys see, I think this guy just confirmed it. I saw some other videos that confirmed what he said about them also being sought after by these organizations. I'm lost for words. This is just really sad. Just like the brother he said, you know, his name is Issa. You guys can check him out on TikTok. He's very intelligent, a lot of knowledge. He's dishing out like on that app. I learn a lot on TikTok. You guys should check him out. So I'm just happy that the word is getting out, and it just makes sense why there's a litany of black names, black people that have been unalived for no tangible reason. Like there was no need for that level of brutality towards them, but it happened. And this makes sense. If they believe they are doing the Lord's work, I feel like one of the worst kind of crime, one of the most brutal kind of crime someone can commit is one that is driven by religion. People do things all in the name of God, in the name of religion, very brutal things. So at this point, I really doubt that it is propaganda. Once again, about Sonia Massey, it was, you guys, I watched the video. I watched that video and I was in a terrible mood for that entire day. That woman looked so harmless. May she rest in peace, and may God give her family the solace and the comfort that they need. I wonder how many more of our people this is going to happen to. I want you guys to let me know what you think about this whole situation. Did you guys know about this whole connection that this brother stated in the video? Let me know what you think. Just drop your comments. Let's have a conversation. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.